What's going on, guys? Coach Bronson here, and we're going to talk about my favorite topic today. We're going to get into CrossFit, the ins and outs. What is CrossFit? How does it work? Is it dangerous? Is it something that you, as a normal, everyday person trying to improve your quality of life, is it something that you should be looking at? All right, we're going to get into a bunch of stuff you may not have ever heard about CrossFit before. Here we go. Okay, let's get into this. CrossFit, guys. You guys know I got started in CrossFit. So let's talk about what CrossFit is. Let's talk about me and how I got started. So my journey started when I was in my late 30s. I was looking at doing something to improve my health, improve my fitness, improve my quality of life. And I started on the fitness side of things. So unlike a lot of people, I did some nutrition stuff, basically just cutting out French fries. That was the first thing I did. The first year of my journey was just try not to eat French fries, stay away from French fries. That was it. Outside of that, it was all fitness. I started doing a program, didn't really like that, went on a cruise around my 40th birthday, met a guy that did CrossFit. He introduced me to it. I came back from that cruise and was just hooked, 100% into it. It was amazing. Not a program or methodology I'd ever been exposed to before. And it made sense. Much like when I started doing carnivore, things started coming together, just making sense about health and fitness and how this nutrition lifestyle fit into what humans are supposed to do. CrossFit just fit all the puzzles about what it's about and how it works is fit for me. And I fell in love with it. So I got started going to a gym, really fell in love with it, got certified as a coach, started coaching, really fell in love with it, and then decided to open my own gym. So I've been in the CrossFit space. I've been a CrossFit certified coach for 10 years, a little over, 10 years now. Wow. I owned a gym for about 5 years. I'm currently a certified CrossFit certified trainer, so I'm level 3. CrossFit has a very good certification and education program. It's very in depth. It's very effective in what it does and getting people to be good coaches, not just have a piece of paper. Okay, so I'm actually at the 3rd level. So there's a level 4 that, because I'm not actively coaching in gyms anymore, I don't really feel the need to do that. It's super intense. So just to give you an idea of how extensive this testing is, the first level, okay, of the certification process is a weekend. You go in, it's hands-on. It's the only hands-on, okay, hands-on training certification, okay? Any other like certified personal trainer program that you get through NASM, ISSA, AFPA, all those other organizations are all read a book, okay, go through some videos, answer a bunch of questions, and then take a test. There is nothing in the most commonly held fitness certifications that actually gets people hands-on and have actual critique on not only how they coach, but also how they move so that they can apply the principles they're learning to themselves. Okay. That's one of the cool things I love about the process. The very first level of education for a CrossFit coach is hands-on, and it's a weekend. It's 2 days of intensive. This is what you're going to do. This is how this stuff works. From there, there's a second level, which is much more. It's, again, hands-on. It's a weekend course. It's hands-on. It's more about the coaching aspect, how to manage groups, how to communicate, how to program, how a lot of the stuff that you learn in the first level, how that stuff plays together in managing and actually helping people progress in their journey. And then the 3rd level is just a test. And that is actually a knowledge test to kind of say, do you understand all of the concepts so that you can be at a level where understanding how the concepts work. If you're going to run a gym or be a head coach or something like that, and you're trying to filter the concepts and methodologies of CrossFit down, you have to understand them at the core. So understanding a lot more of the exercise science, physiological aspects, nutritional aspects, the biological aspects of exercise and fitness, and having that knowledge so that when you're applying it to people, you know how to filter and apply and put things in context to make it work for individuals and groups. Okay. So that's the third level. And then the fourth level, which I haven't done, I've been coaching, in-person coaching for years. So this is one of those ones that's kind of like, do I want to do it? I don't know if I want to do it. But because I'm not actually in person anymore, I'm not worried about it. But the fourth level, just to give you an idea, is going to headquarters, going to CrossFit HQ headquarters and actually coaching random scenarios. So they basically put you in a room with a bunch of people and say, coach this class. And then they evaluate you. There's professional coaches that are evaluating how you coach. How do you communicate? How do you scale and progress? Do you enforce technique before consistency, before intensity? Do you can you manage a class, a group of people? Can you work with individuals within a group of people? Like there's so many aspects to, can you put the workout together? Like they just say, give us a warm up. Here's some people, go. And they just evaluate the whole process. So it's really intensive. It's really the feedback that you get, which is different than any other program. I want to highlight that. The coaching and the training programs within CrossFit is different than other programs because it is feedback based. Okay. Not only we'll talk about the methodology of what CrossFit is, but the coaching program is the only program that I know of from a fitness perspective where you learn, you test your knowledge, and then you get direct feedback on how you applied it. So the first two levels, you have coaches in person responding to you and giving you feedback. Okay. And then the last level is, again, in person responding to you and giving you feedback. This is how you can get better. This is where you're weak. This is something you need to work on, et cetera. Okay. I don't know of any other program that does that. All right. So that's the coaching program. So I've been through a lot of that. I'm level 3. I'm not going to do level 4. No big deal. But I just want to talk about that so that you understand from a CrossFit perspective. I'm not talking about this as an observer. I've been in it for 10 years. Okay, I've been in it. CrossFit level 3, owned a gym, been doing it for a while. So when we talk about, is CrossFit dangerous? Is CrossFit good for you? What's the best way to do it? All these different things. I want you to understand that I've been there. I've had a lot of the same questions, and I've been answering these same questions for a very long time. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what CrossFit is first. Okay, first of all, CrossFit is a fitness methodology. Okay, CrossFit is also a company. It is also a business. Okay, so let's talk about the methodology first. The methodology behind CrossFit is that we want people to be ready and prepared to handle anything that life can throw at them. Okay, functional movement constantly varied functional movement performed at high intensities across broad time and modal domains. What does that mean? Okay, constantly varied. It's going to change. You're not going to do the same thing all the time. Okay, constantly varied functional movement. It's going to be movement that is going to replicate activities and things that you do in your life. Okay, high intensity. It is going to push you and it is going to help you get beyond where you are now. You can't get better. You can't do more if you never do more. That's what that's all about. Okay, broad time and modal domains. What that means is you're going to do short work. You're going to do long work. You're going to do long workouts. You're going to do short workouts. You're going to do sprints. You're going to do endurance stuff. You're going to vary not just the movements that you're doing. You're going to vary not just the type of workouts that you're doing, but you're going to vary how long you do them. Because the demands that we have in our life we can be required to do something that takes all day. We can be required to do something really fast that takes 5 seconds. Okay. And then modal domains, again, is not just the functional movements, but think about it as sport, right? A modal domain, think about it as there's a difference in how we move and what we do from a gymnastics perspective, from weightlifting, from powerlifting, strongman, sports activities. Okay. There are a ton of different things and different, let's call them just sports for now, different modes of moving our body and activities that we can bring and take pieces from that help us improve our everyday quality of life. Okay. So the idea behind CrossFit is let's put all of these things together. Let's pull all the best stuff out of different modalities, that's what the modalities are, and put them into a program that helps us improve our life. That's really what CrossFit is, okay? So the idea behind that, and this is the thing, there's a couple things that people get confused on, okay? The number one thing is the constantly varied aspect of CrossFit, okay? Constantly varied is not the same as random. Many people look at that phrase and think, well, you go in a CrossFit gym and you're just doing all bunch of different stuff all the time. It's just, you never know what you're going to do. How do you know that you're progressing? How can you stay safe, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. Constantly varied just means you're not going to do the same thing too much. Think of it that way. Okay. If you have someone who's doing a good program, if you have a good program that you're following, you're going to progress from things on, let's say you go in on a Monday, you're not going to do the same thing again on Tuesday. You're not going to do the same thing again on Wednesday. There's so many variations and options and things that we can do because we're varying our time, we're varying the modality that we're using, the sport we're pulling from, and we're doing things differently. So I can do heavy squats on Monday. I could come in and do lunges on Wednesday, but I'm doing them maybe faster or for longer with lighter weight, something like that. There's a variation. So I'm still getting a similar movement pattern, but it's a different stimulus on my body. Okay. So constantly varied is a tool that is used. It basically means we're going to work through all these different aspects of fitness. Okay. There's 10 components of fitness. There's 7 essential movements. Okay. And there's 3 metabolic pathways. So there's 20 different components of things that we can do to improve our fitness. We can't do the same thing every time. Constantly varied just means we're going to move through these different components of fitness so that we get the broadest range of improvement possible. It's not specified. We're not doing specifically just what you need to play a sport. Life is broad, so our training needs to be broad. Okay, that's what constantly varied means. Okay, there's still a plan behind how that's applied. We can maybe get into programming and how that works on a different video. Another thing people get confused, high intensity. Okay, constantly varied functional movement performed at high intensity. High intensity does not mean kill yourself every time. Okay, there are different ways to apply intensity. Speed, the number of reps, the weight being used, how much control you're exerting on the movement can be an intensity level. Okay. If I have somebody who just walks in the door, has never worked out before in their life, just getting them to do an air squat with no weight, but doing it properly is going to be a very intense movement for them. It's going to be intense. They may need to do it on a chair before they can get all the way down and find out what that full range of movement looks like and how to do it properly, activate the right muscles, maintain their balance, etc. Okay. So their intensity for them when they're first getting started is less about their physiology because they may be strong enough, but they don't have the coordination or the balance to do it. So for them, their intensity is neurologic based, right? Their brain, their balance, the things that their central nervous system have to do in order to make that movement happen. Okay. So there are different levels and different ways to apply intensity. Intensity does not just mean that you're left on the floor sweating every single time. Okay. Intensity can be applied in 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that make your body improve across all these different aspects of fitness. Okay. So if you think that CrossFit is just about kicking your ass all the time, you're wrong. That's not what it's about. Okay. And we'll get into the application of that as we go through this. This is going to probably be a pretty long video, just so you guys know. Okay. So those are the two, I think, probably the 2 biggest misconceptions about the methodology of CrossFit. Okay. It's not random and it is not all about kicking your ass every single workout. It's not, if it's done properly, and we'll talk about that. Okay. So that's a little bit about what CrossFit is. One of the other things I want you to remember when we talk about CrossFit is there is an underlying tenet of progression that CrossFit teaches on day one. Day one of anybody getting certified as a level 1 coach, they're taught technique first, then consistently perform the technique before you improve intensity or increase intensity. Okay. So the idea of going into a gym and just learning something and cramming it out and then just knocking reps out and putting the weight on and going crazy is not CrossFit. Okay. And I'll say this, if you're at a gym that has CrossFit on the label and your coaches are not insisting on proper technique first before intensity, then you need to find a different gym. You need to find a different coach. Okay. If you are not moving properly, then you are not benefiting your health, your longevity, and your sustainability, period. Okay. Proper movement must come first. And that is what is taught in the curriculum of CrossFit. Proper movement matters. Okay. I'll just let that sit there because you may not have known that. Okay. Because you see all the time failed videos of all these things that happen in CrossFit, CrossFit gyms all over the place. And it would make you think that nobody cares about proper movement, nobody cares about safety or any other kind of stuff. And that is absolutely not the case. I know hundreds of CrossFit gym owners and coaches all over the world, and very few of them are not concerned with technique, safety, and proper scaling and progression. Okay. As a whole, the CrossFit community is way, way, way more about normal people improving their quality of life and being sustainable and having fun and being able to use their bodies than getting hurt because they did something stupid in the gym. That's not what it's about at all. So let's talk about that. Okay, let's talk about getting hurt in the gym. CrossFit's bad for you. CrossFit is going to hurt you. It's got the highest rates of injury, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if you know this. All right. And I just pulled up some notes I have here. We talk a lot. You hear us talk a lot about how everything's rigged, right? The Food and Health Administrations, health and fitness organizations all over the world, trying to put propaganda and push an agenda that is more about saving business and making money than it is about actual health. Okay. We know this happens. Okay. We can look at the last couple of years of just the misinformation and the unscientific evidence, follow the science that has no science about what was going on in 2020. But we know for years when it comes to nutrition that the science wasn't there to say that low fat was good for you. The science wasn't there to say that cholesterol causes cardiovascular disease. Okay. The science wasn't there to say that we need carbohydrates to fuel our bodies. We need to eat carbohydrates to fuel our bodies. We know these things aren't the way that life actually is. That reality doesn't, these things don't exist in reality. Okay. So the same thing happened with CrossFit in 2000. Let's see here. In 2014, I believe, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, NSCA, okay, the largest health and fitness organization in the United States. Okay, they've got some of the most prominent health and fitness certifications and training programs. You're not considered anyone if you don't have some of their certifications. Okay, in certain industries. They realized what was happening in the CrossFit, and they said, we don't like this, right? Because the methodology of CrossFit was starting to be understood and starting to become popular, and people are starting to realize how effective it was. Okay. Similar to what we might know has happened with ketogenic diet, right? All the people and being animal-based, right? The same response that the ketogenic diet and animal-based carnivore, that kind of lifestyle has had in society, where people are like, oh my God, this is horrible. You can't do this. It's going to kill you. The same thing happened with the CrossFit. There is a very, very, very good corollary between animal-based eating and the impact and the effect of CrossFit on the health and fitness space. It's actually really cool. That's one of the reasons why I am so passionate about both of them. Okay, because they both are going against industry. They're both going against the paradigm that currently exists, and they are changing people's lives. Ketogenic diet, carnivore diet, animal-based eating, to me, is the sister, brother, relative, whatever you want to call it, of the CrossFit methodology. They go hand in hand. They're both doing tremendous things for people's health and fitness. It's what I base all of my stuff on. Anywho, let's sidetrack. Get back to the story. So 2014, the National Strength and Conditioning Association did a study, because we know how great those are, did a study that basically came out and said that CrossFit is going to hurt you. You shouldn't do it. And they pushed that out there. So basically, not only did they push it out there, they actually promoted it and marketed this study to all of their networks, right? Everyone that had a certification by them got this information and took it and ran with it. So thousands of people all over the country who are NSCA certified trainers and coaches took this information from this study and basically said, you shouldn't do CrossFit, it's going to hurt you. And that's where the foundation of CrossFit is bad, it's unsafe comes from. Okay, now check this out. In 2016, CrossFit sued NSCA. They sued them for libel. They sued them for falsifying the data in the study. Go figure. No, that doesn't happen. It's a scientific study. They don't falsify data. They don't put information in there that's not accurate, right? Yeah. Last year, 2020, they settled with NSCA for millions of dollars. Okay. And let me read to you a quote from the judge in the ruling. Okay. The court found that the NSCA fabricated the injury data and published them in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning with the intention of protecting its market share in the fitness industry and diminishing the burgeoning popularity of the CrossFit program. The NSCA fabricated the injury data to protect their business. Okay? That's why so many people think that CrossFit is unsafe. Okay? Yeah, think about that. In 2018, the insurance company that NSCA uses to protect itself, the liability insurance company that NSCA uses to protect itself from liability, filed a lawsuit against NSCA. Their own insurance company filed a lawsuit against them because they found that they had an intent to deceive the court about this whole process. Okay? Yeah. I'll just leave that there. One last thing. One other thing the judge put in their ruling, that NSCA's actions constituted extensive perjury and called them inherently untrustworthy. This is the largest health and fitness organization in the country. In the country. Something to think about. All right. So the information that most people have about CrossFit being unsafe is completely false, right? I did some digging a couple of years ago, and I wrote a blog. I did some research on what are common injuries, like what are how often do people get hurt doing sports, right? During this whole court case thing, some people were like, look, we need to find another way to combat this besides just the court proceedings and the lawsuit and all that other kind of stuff. So there were some people that did some of their own studies to look at CrossFit. And here's what they found. The overall injury rate in CrossFit was approximately 20%. Okay. As a reference, studies on runners have reported injury rates ranging from 20 to 80%. Okay. So the average 20 to 80, that's just crazy. So in runners, if you guys know a runner, people that run religiously, I know probably every single person you know that is a runner has had an injury at some point in time. But we never talk about running's not safe, right? We never talk about you shouldn't run because you're going to get hurt. Do we? No, we don't. Elite track and field athletes, while a very different population, but with similar high intensity movements in their training, as in CrossFit, have about a 42% average injury rate per year. Okay. Here's some other numbers to throw out. Injury rates for CrossFit. On average, well, let's see, they have a range here, 0.24 to 5.5 injuries per 1,000 hours of training. Okay. Long distance runners, 2.5 to 12 injuries per average or per 1,000 hours of training. All right. And people that do triathletes are 1.4 to 5.4 injuries per 1,000 hours of training. So what we're finding out here when we look at these numbers, there's a bunch of numbers I can go through here, but basically if you put all these numbers together and look at them, CrossFit as a fitness activity is no more, and in many cases far less, okay, has a far less chance of injury, of you being injured than anything else. Okay. And here's why. Okay. Because in CrossFit, you have somebody who's there watching you every single time. Okay. When you're out running, you're just out running. You are on your own. And in many cases, there's no one watching your technique, and how your running technique may change throughout the length of that run. You're not getting any feedback on anything. Many runners don't get coaches. They just go out and run. That's just one example. In a lot of sports, you have a coach on the field who's coaching the sport. They're not coaching that individual's performance and how they're moving their body and how much stress they're putting in their body. They're not managing those aspects, right? In CrossFit, you go to a class, you have a designed program that has built-in modifications and scales so that you can adjust the movement to fit your specific scenario. And you have a coach, and sometimes multiple coaches, who are there with their eyes on you to make sure you're doing it right. Which of those scenarios sounds better to you? I'm going to go do something on my own where I don't have any feedback. Okay. Again, feedback, just like the training, feedback is important. I'm going to go do something on my own where I have no feedback. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I'm just going to get a workout off the internet and go do it and hope I see progress. Or I'm going to follow a program that has proven success over many years with a coach who's there with their eyeballs on me to make sure I'm doing it right. Right? The idea that CrossFit is unsafe is completely unfounded. It was built on false information. Okay. And it doesn't hold up to the actual numbers that we see in real life. Right? CrossFit is not any less safe than any other activity that you're going to do. And here's the kicker. It is more important for you to do that than to sit on your butt and not do anything. 80% or more of the population in the US right now is obese, pre-diabetic, or diabetic. Okay. Would you rather not do CrossFit or just do something that isn't going to give you the same benefits that CrossFit does? Because CrossFit is by far the best, well-rounded, overall functional fitness program there is. Okay. The things that you have in there that are designed to help our bodies improve metabolic function and work capacity match the broad range of the effect and impact that the ketogenic diet or carnivore diet, animal-based diet has on your nutrition. If you combine the two of them, if you're listening to this and you are living a ketogenic lifestyle, if you're carnivore, if you're animal-based, whatever, then you need to be doing CrossFit or something like it. Okay. Something that is functionally focused, just like your nutrition is focused on functional metabolism. Okay. Functional movement, functional metabolism, they go hand in hand. All right. And that's the idea behind what CrossFit's all about. So I would rather have you do something that is constantly varied, functional movement, performed at high intensities across broad time and modal domains, whether it has the name CrossFit on it or not. This is the other thing I want you to realize about CrossFit. CrossFit is just a name for a methodology. If you're a good, this is another corollary to the nutrition side of things. When I talk about, we're all trying to get to the best of what works for our nutrition, right? We have that target. You guys have heard me use the target analysis. We're shooting at the target. Some of us are further out to the outside. Some of us are closer to the middle. Okay. If we're all looking at things objectively and we're all trying to get better and be as optimal as possible as a human being with our nutrition, we're going to start making some of the same decisions and start doing some of the same things. Okay. All successful people have an overlap of habits and functions that they do because that's what it takes to be successful. All healthy people have a subset of habits and lifestyle decisions that they made so that they can be healthy as they are, and they will overlap because that's what it takes to be healthy and live a good quality of life. Okay. So as we all start making those same decisions, we start getting closer and closer to the center. Okay. That's all. And you can call that keto, carnivore, paleo, whatever. It's going to bring you in closer to center. That's the same thing with CrossFit. CrossFit is the name for a group of habits and activities that bring you closer to what it's going to take you to be as functionally fit as possible. That's all it is. If I'm a good coach and I've never heard of CrossFit before, and I spend 10 years studying how the body moves and exercise science and what exercises work best to make people progress and how to progress people and what scales and modifications there are for every exercise. If I did all that work on my own, all right, and then I decide to open up a gym and I have people come in and I learn how to manage people in groups, then the habits and practices that I develop over time will be almost identical to what you see in a CrossFit gym. Because those habits and practices are what it takes to be successful and help people improve their fitness across the board. So whether it has the name CrossFit on it or not, you can find a gym that follows some of the similar methodologies and concepts that CrossFit applies. You are going to see success. Okay. Whether it's CrossFit or not. That's just how it works. All right. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So that's a lot of the information I have, guys. CrossFit is definitely not something you need to avoid. Okay. It is something that is going to help you improve your body's ability to function. It ties directly into being a ketogenic, living a ketogenic lifestyle. And the two of them together, I think, are one of the most powerful combinations that anybody could bring together in their life to improve their longevity, their sustainability, their quality of life, their enjoyment of life, their physical freedom, and everything about who they are and what they're doing. So that's it on CrossFit, the ins and outs. If you have any questions, as always, guys, please post in the comments. Let me know. I love talking about CrossFit. We could talk about it all day. Maybe I'll do a video on what CrossFit programming is like. I don't know if that's something you guys are interested in. That will give you some insight into how I program my programs, but everything that I do in my app is based off of the same methodologies. Okay. You're going to get functional movement. You're going to get strength training. You're going to get a broad range of different things we're going to pull from to help you improve your work capacity. Your body's ability to do work is impacted by your body's ability to move and what you eat. So we bring the two of those together into a really good comprehensive program to improve everything about how you live your life. All right. So take it easy. I'll see you on the next one.